And we are live. What's up, guys? We got Jennifer Moleski. Sorry if I just butchered your last name. Is that correct, Moleski?
Yeah, Moleski. Very good.
We got Jennifer Moleski joining us, the anti-feminist. Well, that's not really. I kind of just pulled that out of my ass. But yeah, she's known for. She spoke at the 21 convention, which I'm going to be speaking at next year as well. So it's going to be a fun little fact. We're going to be co-speakers, and she has a very interesting message. It's basically like rational common sense for women. How women can be better women, how men can be better men. But I think you mainly focus on women, right?
Yeah, I mean the goal was women, but my voice was heard mostly by men. I mean I can't change who's clicking on my videos, but I really want to try amping up like a peaceful exit from feminism for women. You know what I mean? Like come up with a series, like here's a way to slowly get out of the feminist cult.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know.
Well, the thing about being in a cult is you don't know you're in a cult when you're in it. It's when you get out that you realize that you're in a cult. And I would agree that feminism nowadays has, in a way, become almost cult-like. And I think it's important. Well, I think let's start this. What is? So this is the way me and my girl were having a discussion about this a few days ago. And I think that if you define feminism as about equality, right? Like, yeah, women should be equal to men. Women should get paid the same as men. 99% of men would be feminists because we're pretty much all on board with that. There's very few men who are going to be like, no, women are beneath men. But when you make it, I think what modern feminism has become is about power and control. It's not really about equality anymore. And I think that's kind of my opinion. What's your take on this? What do you see as the problem with feminism?
Well, yeah, I agree. But the thing I've been thinking about lately is the patriarchy is so awesome that when women bitched and moaned to get equality, men were gracious and they did it. Okay, they allowed the other gender in the arena. Now feminists have gotten all their ways, all the boxes are ticked, and they're not letting men back in the arena. They want more space. And I think that's one of the reasons, like, I'm not about women in leadership roles for the most part. I think they're naturally more awful. And I think that's exhibited with, I mean, since women have started to become in power, does it look nice and peaceful outside anymore in the cities? You know? But I also think that feminism is just one, what's it, cog in the wheel? I don't know if that's the right saying.
Yeah,
I think there's a whole bunch of stuff that's hurting America, in the world, but I like to focus on feminism and women.
Do you ever get called?
I answered your question.
No, you did.
What's that?
Do some women ever call you like a Benedict Arnold or whatever?
No, what is that? What?
Like a traitor, because it's like, like for example, a black guy is like speaking out like, hey guys, maybe we should not defund the police, maybe police are good, and like the other some other black guy would be like, oh, you're a Benedict Arnold, right? It's like that type of thing. You're a woman, but you're speaking out against feminism, right? Like, do you ever get that, or no one's ever said that?
Yes.
Okay.
But I've been getting a little bit more poopy, farty comments lately from women than I ever have before, which is kind of good news because that means that they're watching my content. But yeah, there's a tone of, if you don't think exactly like me, then you're a bitch and you don't deserve the feminist love, because their whole thing is equality and girl power. But I did a video before, like, it's not girl power. It's girl power if you think exactly how I think or exactly how I want you to think. The moment you step out of that, it's no good. Why?
Yeah.
Because they're bad leaders.
Yeah, I don't know if there's. So I would say maybe, I don't know if it's so much that the women who are in charge of whatever feminists are bad leaders, but more the fact that it's a movement that's just gone off the deep end. Sort of like let's say Black Lives Matter. Like, we all agree that Black Lives really. Actually, I almost hate going down this rabbit hole because I've just instantly gotten demonetized. But we all agree that Black Lives Matter. But like when you make it about like other shit, like just like in support of looting and stuff like that, that's when people kind of move away from the movement. So I see like the feminist movement as like, it started off as about equality, giving the women the right to vote, giving women equal rights under the law, which, it obviously makes sense. I think all rational men or who are not like deeply prejudiced would agree with that. That's kind of gone off the deep end. And I think like now it's like really reached a crazy point. But let me take a step back. So how did you get into what you're doing? Like, how did you get into making these videos?
Well, I liked to consume the kind of content that I make, but there was such a there was a lot of market space available, and that made me kind of bummed out because there's not enough, in my opinion, there's not enough people talking about this. So I remember I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. She said, I love you a lot, but who fucking cares what you think, which is fair. But I told her, there's no one representing. I feel like the way that I think my views would be, a good caricature would be like a bonnet, and a little house on the prairie dress. And I didn't want to, I wanted people to know that the stereotype doesn't hold. And I just wanted to be, I think I'm normal looking. You know what I mean? Like, I don't look like I don't necessarily look how my brain looks. Does that make any sense?
I mean, I agree with the fact that you're normal looking. You're not like freakish or anything like that. I don't know where you're going with this one though.
Well, I want it to be a voice, okay? Because there was a lack in the market of women talking about what I'm talking about. On top of that, I think there's a stereotype of what a woman who is more who really wants the nuclear family to thrive and is not about feminism. I think they have a perceived way that they would look. So I thought it was important to present a normal human being with not mainstream ideas, unfortunately, not mainstream ideas, to the world. And I do it more as a hobby, but I'm starting to feel more of a responsibility to really try to get women, to show women that there's another alternative to bashing men, claiming that they're unequal, and wanting to just pursue a job instead of a family.
Yeah. Well, I think that the mainstream is not necessarily mainstream. So mainstream implies that the majority of people feel that way. I think that the majority of women do want to have a family one day, maybe not now, but they do want to have a family. The majority of women don't feel like men are the enemy. Majority of women don't feel like men are holding them back. But there's a small subsect who dominate the space and who dominate the talking. And for some reason, I mean, you see this with politics, like the crazies on both sides kind of taking control. And for some reason, it's the same thing with feminism. I link it to social justice warrior, PC, whatever movement. Like that movement has gone off the fucking deep end where like literally like if 20 years ago you made a joke that used the word Indian in it, now you're a horrible person and you should go to like fucking re-education camps. It's so off the deep end. And it's so annoying when I see like celebrities and YouTubers apologizing about something they said 20 years ago, which wasn't even bad in the first place. And so that's kind of where I see like, feminism has just kind of gone in that direction. Actually, a funny story I have is this one girl who you guys, one of my most popular videos on YouTube, me and that girl, the reason we stopped making videos together, the reason we stopped hooking up is one night we were discussing, whatever, man and woman issues, just having a, discussion. And she told me some crazy fucking outrageous shit. Like I always knew she was really hardcore on the feminist side. But then she started saying like, yeah, I think that women are just way better than men. And I was like, okay, how? She's like, we're just so much better. I was like, in what way? Like which way are you better? Like, how are you exactly better? And then she's like, started making all these crazy arguments, how like, oh, men who can't control, like men who feel the need to look at women should be forced to stay at home. And I'm like, what? Like, what world are you living in? Just like all these crazy ideas.
Yeah.
Like you're walking around with like your nice big Latina booty like sticking out, and like a guy looks at it, and like you kind of wanted that in the first place, and now you should be like forced to stay at home. Like this is just pure nonsense. Anyway, so she stormed out, and that was the end of that. Good riddance. Although she did give me a lot of. But yeah, I think the one point I want to make is I find it kind of ironic that the men that feminists, like the men who become feminists, they're not attractive to women. Women don't want a guy who's feminine or who pretends to be a feminist. And men don't want a woman who's masculine. We want a feminine woman. And so this is like the sad irony in this whole thing, is that the polarity in the sexes is what's attractive. Like most guys, that's why a lot of successful guys are choosing to date and marry women in third world countries like, you know, Colombia or whatever, or like Eastern Europe, is simply because women there are more feminine. Like that's a big part of it.
Yes.
And I think it's sad. It's kind of sad, like the role models that like some women in America have nowadays. What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, it's a huge bummer, but I mean, it's chicken and eggy, because how did we let this happen? You know, like, why is it that you have to leave the country? And not for real. There's plenty of
no. There's great women,
men and women.
Yeah, of course. I'm talking about averages.
But people do leave when they think that when they want the feminine woman. A good option on the table is to leave. I just don't know how that happened. And okay, I think I do. I think it's called the matriarchy. The matriarchy let this happen. There's no women telling other women true things. You know, like that they do have a sexual market value. That at some point having children is not the best idea, because you either can't have them or they might be retarded. You know, like I remember at my waitressing job last year, I told a coworker, she's 35, and I said, you know, after the age of, and honestly, I can't remember, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I told her, I think it's like 28 or something. Every year after that, the chance of having like Down syndrome baby is more. And she's like, what? No, she couldn't believe it. Like, how did she go 35 years with the age of information to not know that if she wanted a child, she would be putting it potentially at greater risk? There's no matriarchy. Okay. Every woman, if there's any women that watch this, you know the family recipe that you have, and you tell your friends like, oh, I make a really good goulash or stroganoff or chicken piccata. I got it from my grandma. It was passed down from my great-great-grandma. We were Italian. Women are so proud of that recipe. The one recipe, the two, the five. And I think that's how it's supposed to be with way more of who you are as a woman. You're supposed to have these
role models,
feminine heirlooms, and they're not being gifted. That's what I think the problem is.
Yeah, I would say it definitely goes. That's probably a small part of it, but I think it definitely goes a lot deeper than that. I mean, I think it happened in the last like 10, 15 years, because I remember when I was in school, like a lot of the things that are like a thing now weren't a thing. Like there was no, whatever posters telling you that, I don't know, crazy shit that whatever, you can cut off your dick and stick it down your nose and that makes you a rhino, or I don't know, whatever the fuck they have. I saw you had a video on this. You were like reviewing, I think it was your 21 convention speech. You were reviewing various posters, and like some of this shit they're teaching is really crazy. Like Poison. For like middle school kids, like or like elementary school kids, don't rape girls. Like, okay, but like that's a good message, but not when you're in like 10 years old. Like the only thing you're gonna be raping is like the ice cream stand. So yeah, I mean, I think that's just like it was just like a lot of craziness, but that wasn't a thing when I was growing up. So I do think it's happened like the last 10, 15 years. I don't really have an answer on why it happened. And I think sometimes it's not as bad as some people make it out to be. Like it also a lot of it depends on where you live. Like I live in Miami, where there's a lot less of like women in Miami are a bit more feminine than women in like, I want to say like Los Angeles or something like that. I've lived in both places.
You know, I wonder if it's because there's more, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wonder if it's because there's more sexual competition. Whereas in New York, there's sexual competition, but it's a lot of career women. I just wonder if the marketplace that they're in the ring for demands that they be more feminine. Otherwise, they won't win.
I think that's definitely a part of it. I think the marketplace is a huge determining factor. So if you look at the marketplace in, say, Medellin, Colombia, one of my favorite places to travel to, right? All the women there are physically fit, on average. Like the women there are pretty physically fit. They usually get very pretty for dates. They're very feminine. They're very fun, right? So if a woman wants to be a fat slob in Medellin, in Colombia, she's not going to find a mate, right? That just is what it is. In a lot of American cities, like she can be like kind of like fat and slobbish, and she can still find a mate because the marketplace, allows for that, right? Because I don't know exactly, but there's some fascinating sexual economics that takes place in all this that determines kind of what you can be. Um,
Okay.
just like
But I'm sorry. Please finish.
no, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Just like I was saying, the culture, I'm thinking out loud.
Yeah.
The culture of the women in where did Colombia, you said?
Yeah, Colombia.
Culture is different. Do you think it's possible that their mothers are passing down the family heirlooms of femininity through showing them by the mom is actually feminine and beautiful herself,
Sure.
and then letting the girl know the secrets, you know what I mean, to finding a good partner. I mean, I don't know. I just really do think that it's all about culture. So culture starts with one, and then it's family, and then it's where you work, and then it's community, and then it blows up. But if you take that back down, it starts with family. And I bet that the matriarchy is a little bit more clever and feminine there. And I don't know the stats, but I bet the patriarchy is a little bit more alive and well in Colombia. I'm absolutely talking out of my ass right now because I don't have any statistics about Colombians. I'm assuming, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think part of it. Like, I've dated several Latin women, and I can tell you, and it's not all good. There's some aspects of the culture which are a little sad. Like, for example, my ex, she was a very pretty Venezuelan girl, and like she was brought up to believe that her purpose in life is to just latch on to a successful guy, right? She was a very smart woman. She could, she was a psychologist. I always get those two confused. Psychologist. She was a psychologist back in Venezuela and shit. So she was a smart, educated woman, but she was taught that, hey, like your job is to just find a successful guy and latch onto him, right? Like, and I think that's not the healthiest mindset either. Like, I think that it's good for her to be taught the skills to find a man, but she should also be taught that she can make it, succeed on her own and do not on her own forever, but like she could make something of her life. There's more to her life than just basically reproducing, right? So I think there's some positive to like Western culture as well. Like I do like some elements of empowerment and like like women can do some shit. Like they don't have to always be dependent on men. But like on the other side, like it goes too far in the other direction where it just becomes like, oh, we don't need men at all. Well, you sort of do if you want to reproduce. I mean, I don't know.
Well, women are taught to spend the most valuable years. No, never mind. I was going to say any year can be valuable, but for finding a good dude, there's a window where you're going to have more success than when you're my age, right? So they spend these very valuable years training to be alone, meaning they're going to school just in case they have to get a job, so just in case they can pay the bills, so just in case they can pay off their student debt, and they've just trained themselves, plus they've invested $100,000 so that they can be alone. And I think that's I think it's bad. I think it once you owe money to an institution, you're going to be more loyal to it than something that you don't have an investment in, which is.
Or you can just do what I do, which is ignore your student loans and just tell them to go suck a dick.
Wait, what do you do with the student loans?
I honestly went to a pretty expensive school. I got like half of it was paid for by scholarship, but then the rest was whatever. I just never paid my student loans. I was just like, fuck it. Like, yeah. And I don't know, nothing's ever happened. I mean,
and then what happened? That sounds like something I would do. What happened then? Just, that's it?
No, nothing really. I mean, I get like emails once in a blue moon and shit like that, and phone calls. But I mean, I'm actually, now that PWF is like making pretty good money, I'm probably gonna just pay it off. Just so, but like my credit didn't even take that much of a hit. But anyway, that's a whole side tangent. Like I don't want to teach people how
Got
to
it.
like scam the government. Uh, what's it called? The one question I want to ask you. So you talk a lot about the power of responsibility and not being a victim. Uh, can you elaborate on that? Why do you find it that it's important for people to take responsibility for all aspects of their life? How's that a good trait?
Okay, well, feminism is all about empowering women, but you can't empower anyone. No one can be empowered if you don't learn how to take responsibility. So if you have a big problem, it's 100% problem. I think the wisest of us will go through with a fine-tooth comb and find out all the percentages that they had influence. And you don't have to call it their fault, but if it's a bad thing, I would put the blame on myself. It's their fault. The beauty of that is when you start to get really good at it, you can find large amounts of all situations, the good and the bad, that are because of you and your decisions. Then that's power. Then you can go into any future situation with the tools and the weapons needed to succeed the next time it comes about. But if you're begrudging and you're not going to give yourself the honor of taking blame, you're fucked. You are fucked. You might as well just quit. You will lose. You will lose. You will never try. You will lose. But when you can start to find the things that you're responsible for, that's an escalation of power, and then the world is yours. I don't
Yeah,
understand why men and women fight me. I'm not saying you're fighting me, but it's amazing how many men and women fight me on this. That they hate the idea of taking responsibility. I mean, even I don't know, Alex, if you're going to actually like me as a person, because I'm of the thinking when a woman is raped, what environment did that happen in? And it's called victim shaming. And I don't want to shame a victim, but God damn it, ladies, think about the situation. How much respect do you have for yourself, and then act like it? I always say that it's very rare that a woman who's just been studying Nietzsche at the public library and has on her cardigan on the way to her car at 7 p.m. isn't raped. It's usually women who are, I mean, I don't even have to blab on. So if
this
if
is a rather controversial topic. I mean, I will say there's definitely degrees of it. Like yeah, I mean, there's definitely degrees of it. Like, let's say you were at a party, right? Like, and you got, whatever, raped, right? Are you partially responsible? Well, I mean, like, you did put yourself a little bit of higher risk. That doesn't make it right. It's still really fucked up that you got
no, I'm
raped.
not
And,
saying it at all.
yeah,
Absolutely. I'm not justifying someone else's behavior. I'm trying to empower the woman to go, oh, okay, I have this much control, even if it's a little bit. So I'm not going to put
yeah,
myself in harm's way in that way again. And I can't really think of a negative to that, except for that I sound like a bitch. But I'd rather sound like a bitch and help a woman than tell her that she was powerless and always will be because men are scary.
yeah. No, I mean, it's always good to get power back, as much power as you can have. I'm always a big proponent of controlling as much power as I can in any situation, because I trust myself to do the right thing. I don't really trust others. Um, I have like many stories to support that, like just ranging from my business to personal life. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how people would be not happy with you saying that. Um,
Yeah, and I'm fine. I'll take the brunt of that.
yeah,
The,
I
the
mean,
beauty of that, though, yeah, sorry.
no, go ahead. The beauty.
Well, the beauty of taking responsibility, even a sliver, is then it goes the other way too. Like all the successes in your life are not due to society and the guys that helped or the ladies that, it's you. It's your hard work. I think it just does nothing but increase self-esteem and yeah.
I think life is a combination of your actions and random luck. So, for example, you could do everything perfectly and you could be like the perfect human being, take zero risk, and then a drunk driver hits you and you're paralyzed, right? Like that does happen, right?
Yeah.
So there's
Sure.
the random luck, and it could be good. You know, you could get really lucky with whatever. You actually have some dumb idea and actually takes off and blah, 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 you're a multimillionaire. Or it could be really bad luck, usually goes the other way, and just something fucked up happens and there's no fault of your own, and there's like close to 0% responsibility. That could be like there's a lot of element of like random luck, and people get diseases and people get sick and all that. And, you know, there's bad people who do bad things to good people. But so, yeah, it's a combination of both. There's always elements, and you do want to try to increase the personal responsibility and like take control as much as you can. So, like, for example, if I was a woman, like I can tell you personally, I would probably, you know, walk around with pepper spray. I'll probably take a self-defense class, simply so that I could be better prepared in case something did happen.
Sure.
Like yeah, I mean, I can tell you, well, this is actually like a very sad story. I almost hate going down this route, but this woman who I know, she had unfortunately a very bad experience. A family friend, she just had gotten an operation. She trusted a family friend to pick her up from the hospital. He did, and then she was at this point knocked out on still narcotics, so she just had an operation. So she was barely mobile, and then he raped her. And then because it was a family friend, no one believed her. So which was extra, like, you know, one was the fact that she got raped, and two was the fact that you know, no, her family took this other person's side, which I can imagine being like so bad. And like, you know, if we look at it, like, you know, like how much control did she really have of a situation? Like, you know, she wasn't at a party or something like that. And again, I'm not saying women should not be free to go to parties; they should. But you know, like it was just really bad luck, I guess. But so what she did is after she got better from her operation, she got these two very crazy guard dogs. Well, they're fine as long as you're not like threatening to her. And she spends like every day training them and shit. So like, you know, you cannot get within like 2 miles of this girl if you have any kind of bad intentions towards her, because her dogs will fuck you up. So like, you know, there's always like kind of things you can do. But yeah, I mean, I think also there's a lot of bad luck in life. But anyway, let's kind of
well, just one more thing. Yeah, I feel like luck is random, whereas good character can be consistent. You know, so yeah, you might get paralyzed. My husband might die tomorrow. I might get a brain aneurysm. I might get raped at 7-Eleven. I don't know. But I know that I'm capable of being the best I can. And then I'll be more prepared for the good luck or the bad luck. That's it. Thank you for letting me say my last piece.
No, by all means. I mean, yeah, I think life is almost like a game. You play the game of life, and you just want to, any game you can lose. You just want to maximize the odds of you winning. But at the end of the day, there is like some elements of bad luck. Like there could be a nuclear war tomorrow, and then we all die despite us being the best people. So you never really know. It's like you could maximize control of as many things as possible, but in the day, there's still some things outside your control, which is scary in a way. But anyway, this is like whole philosophy tangent of mine. So let me ask you this: what traits do you personally find attractive in a man?
Yeah.
Like you're married. What made you marry? What married? Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, stoic. I like stoic men. I like men that it's controlling your emotions.
Okay.
Knowing what's really important. There was a guy who was a big, strong stoic, and he said that his daughter would tease his wife, her mom, and say, "Oh, you hurt Dad's feeling," because he was just like so limited on emotion because he was so reined in. And it doesn't have to mean not fun, but I don't like to see women or men, but men in particular, lose their shit easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
I love it when men cry once a year. You know, not the guy that cries 4 times a week.
Right.
Same with women, but stoic, authentic, and very quick-witted. If you have any jokes that you're going to volley, you need somebody who's going to be able to play. but that's just me. That's only me. But I know that most women are all about the stoic thing. We don't want to. You said before, you don't. Women don't want soft men, and
No, of
men
course.
don't want, masculine women.
No, on average, no. One thing I've heard you say in some of your videos, which I agree with, is women like men who have boundaries, which is definitely very true. Women don't like
Yeah.
pushovers. Well, that's why women don't really like the quote unquote nice guy. And I've talked about this many times, but I think it'd be more impactful if the guys hear from you. So explain to the guys why a quote unquote nice guy is a major turnoff for women.
Oh, okay. Because they're trying to please outside of themselves. A man who won't take shit, who has boundaries, has developed his worth, and he respects himself so much that he won't let other people disrespect him. He has a boundary and he states it clearly. I think that nice guys could totally succeed with dating, but then just by doing this one thing, they would turn themselves out of the nice guy, and it'd be calling out when a woman pushes past his boundary. If any man, I mean, and it's happened to me a couple times. What the hell was it? Like, just as simple as I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that is the most sexy thing in the world. You won't ever, she won't ever talk to you like that again. It increases your self-esteem because you're like, oh my God, I can like change everything, I can change my whole relationship just by saying out loud what I will and won't tolerate. And then, men that actually have the integrity to live up to their boundary, meaning, Alex, you and I have a date and I am 10 minutes late. And you kind of let it slide the first time, and then it happens again. And then you say to me, hey, Jennifer, it's really good to see you. I'm really excited about this date. I just want you to know I don't tolerate waiting for people. So from now on, if you're going to spend time with me, you're going to have to be prompt. And then let her have her freak out. Let her leave. Don't ever talk to her again. Men so much want to like hold on and cling to these shittiest women. Let them filter themselves out. State out loud, you are worth it. And the more you do that, the more you're going to feel worth it, and then your life's going to change, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I agree with the premise. I have a smile on my face because I'm just thinking like that situation would never take place because the date would be straight at my house. Because that's like what I do all my dates. I just invite girls over for a bottle of wine on my balcony. So like if she's late, like it wouldn't affect me because I would just be doing my thing anyway. And I live in Miami where every girl is at least an hour late anyway. But yeah, no, I get your point. You should be able to stand up for yourself in like a non butthurt, non angry type of way. I think a lot of people have lost the ability to communicate negative things in a rational, calm manner.
Yes.
Which is,
well,
sad.
So that's kind of coupled up with. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was finished.
The lag is killing us. That couples up with stoicism. So I have these boundaries, and I'm not an emotional wreck. So when the boundaries are crossed, I can just say, because I'm stoic, I own my feelings. I can just say what is tolerable and what's not, what the repercussion will be from now on. All I'm doing is saying things out loud that are true. That's it. And I think, I don't know, is there comments going on right now?
Oh, there's
is
a
there
bunch.
Anybody here?
Well, there's a bunch. Yeah.
Dude.
There's a bunch. I'm gonna put the way I do these is I typically interview the guests first, and I go through the comments. So yeah. There's a bunch. People are commenting on what we're saying.
Okay, got it.
I don't want to put those on the screen because I don't like the guest perception of the conversation to be affected by external feedback.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see because usually it's talking about me. So I'd rather just see it.
Another question I have for you is: we were kind of talking about how men can be better men. How in your opinion, can women be better women?
How can women be better women?
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Yeah, there's a 10 to
I think about this.
YouTube analytics shows us that 20% of the people who watch my channel are women. So I'm sure a lot of them are wondering how
Ooh.
can you find a woman?
Okay, I think it's very important to really know what you want, not what society tells you you want. Not that I don't care if you're capable and you're smart enough to work for NASA. What do you want? Figure that out and then be better in that way. I want. Okay, doesn't matter what I want. I think to work on the things that. Are we talking period or like in relationships with men?
Let's do both.
Okay, period. I would say become more stoic, really work on your communication skills. And I think every woman and man, every woman to make herself better and stronger is every morning that you wake up, first thing you do, journal for 3 pages. That is from advice from a book called The Artist's Way. It helps you get into your creative side. I did that, and it was the biggest. I traveled Asia for 4 months a long time ago, and I thought that I was proud of myself for doing that. But then the thing I was more proud of was doing the artist way, or to whittle that down is to journal those 3 pages. You will learn about yourself. If you ask yourself a question, if you're struggling with something, you don't need a therapist. You need brutal honesty from yourself. Journal every day. I think.
Although I would say there can be a lot of value in a therapist if it's the right therapist in the right situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I'm kind of thinking of the people who have the excuse that they don't have the money for it.
Oh, okay.
If that's where you're at, then journal. But yeah, I think therapy is dope. Do you want me to add that to my be a better person? I think everyone should go to therapy.
No. I want you to give me the most genuine answer, whatever you feel. It's not about what I feel. It's about what you feel because you're the guest. So I want to hear your opinion. Okay. What are some other ways that you think women?
Yeah, journal
I have my own thoughts on this, but I want to hear yours first.
Okay. So journal, because that's going to get you in touch and you're going to become a better communicator even with yourself. Fitness is so important, and I don't care if it's for like being hard and strong or just really fit and healthy, but when you care about your body and make yourself breathe hard through physical exertion, you will be a better person. You'll have more confidence. You'll have a way to vent, blah, blah, blah. This is all old shit. I shouldn't have to, there's no one out there that doesn't understand why it's important for fitness. For relationships, I've been thinking about this lately. Like, okay, I would say write down the things that make you feel really happy that your husband or boyfriend does. You picked him for a reason. He's amazing. So what are the things that you love about him?
Oh, we lost Jennifer. Wait, what happened?
Instead of just liking it and taking it for granted, know that he's chosen you and now you got to keep him. So for everything that he does that you love, do 3 things for him. He should know about this, but every time he says, if some interviews are good and some are not. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm super scattered on this one. But there's a book called The 5 Languages of Love. So whatever his love language is, you want to reciprocate in that way. And whatever, like my love language is words of affirmation. If you say, Jennifer, you're a really great gal, it's way better than if you clean my car and put gas in the tank. So if he says to me, Jennifer, thank you so much for the dinner tonight. It was wonderful. That makes me happy. So I'm going to do 3 things for him just to maintain that relationship. I think I'm getting more old school in my views about relationships because oh, Alex, I don't know how weird I should be.
Get as weird as you would like. We like the weird.
Do you believe in? It doesn't really matter. Do you believe in
weirdos?
Do you believe in God or something greater?
I do not.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm really appreciative for my life. I really like being alive. And I think the earth is beautiful and I love the people on the planet. Okay.
Some of them,
But
for
I love
sure.
my husband. I
Yeah.
love my husband so much. And sometimes I look at him and I'm so bummed out that not everyone loves him as much as I do. Okay. I'm like, God, he's so awesome. I wish he'd have like the most blissed out life ever. But he has to go to work and he has to deal with this and blah, blah. So I take it as my honor to be able to be the one person that fulfills what I think he deserves. And because I think it's an honor to, if there's a God, it's an honor to God. If it's just like evolution, it's an honor to that evolution, you know? And that's how I've been thinking about relationships lately. And I think we're kind of living in a society where, now remember, I'm hard on men and women, but I'm gonna talk about women. Women are like, what can I get from him? What can I get? I deserve, I want, I finished school. I'm awesome. I'm amazing. I'm beautiful. But they never stop and go, holy shit, my boyfriend's amazing. When's the last time I rubbed his feet or wrote him a love note or put him on a scavenger hunt for a blowjob or like what the fuck ever it is, you know? Um, I think that there's so many unique, wonderful ways, but yes, putting your partner's happiness as a very high priority, I think would be a great way to uniquely um, be be the best
Yeah.
girlfriend or wife
I think
ever.
Bill Clinton would have definitely liked the blowjob scavenger hunt idea. Maybe that would have kept him happy with Hillary. Um, but yeah, it's funny. I was kind of cracking up as you were talking because I was thinking. I don't know if do you know who Adam 22 is? He runs the No Jumper
No, it sounds
podcast.
familiar, but no.
Yeah, a very popular podcast. But anyway, so I have a weird memory where I remember certain things from certain things. And he has a girlfriend. I think her name is Lena. And someone was asking her, "How are you cool?" Because they do a lot of threesomes together. And someone was asking her, well, "How are you cool with your, now husband fucking other women in front of you?" And what she said was very interesting. She said, "I just think he's so awesome. I just want to share his awesomeness with everyone, and I can start doing that by sharing it with other hot young women in our area, right?" And I found that very, very fascinating. So she was like, that was basically her logic.
Isn't that funny? Because I think the threesome thing could be either taken into the boundary thing. For some women, there's a boundary. Like, I don't actually want you to have sex with other people. And then on the other hand, if you're so awesome, you should bang them all, But it's just unique to every person. Yeah, I like that. I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. But I think that Lana is an exceptional woman for doing that.
She definitely is, and so is her booty. Yeah. Okay. So the next question I wanted to ask, I have on the list here is, well, actually, no, I was gonna give my 2 cents on this. I'm also quite scattered today, but so in my opinion, how some ways women can be better women. I'm gonna do a little mansplaining is, and some of those things you said. One, I think, is fitness. Just stay as hot as possible. Because first of all, if you keep in good shape, you're gonna live longer. You're gonna have a high quality of life, and your man is gonna enjoy banging you a lot more. That's the first thing. Second thing is don't play games. I think that this is such a turnoff, and something so many women feel that they have to do nowadays is play these weird games, and that's such a turnoff for me. If I go on a first date with a girl and she starts playing weird power games, it's like an almost instant deal breaker. Good communication is definitely part of it. Mastering your emotions, so not which kind of goes into stoicism, as like you were saying. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of things, and showing appreciation, which is a two-way street. The guys should also show appreciation to the girls they're with in their own ways. So yeah, that's kind of my sense. Just like for everything for men, part of being a better man is getting in good shape. Being in good shape,
Yeah.
training your mind, training your body, training your whatever your attitude or whatever you want to call it, your spirit. It's kind of my 2 cents on that. So next thing I want to ask is, what do you think about hypergaming? Are you familiar with that term?
Oh yeah. What do I think of it?
Yeah, like
I
why do you think it happens? Like why
well,
someone inclined to trade up all the time?
I'm actually scripting something about hypergamy.
Oh, hypergamy. That's yeah, I'm pronouncing it like a jackass. Hypergamy. Yeah, hypergamy. Yeah.
That's okay. Okay. I think men are more simple than women. The games that women play, this is all that could all be cleared up through journaling. Okay, being honest. Hypergamy happens when a woman is bored, I think. So there's a lot of the men's community content creators or commenters that always say that women will monkey branch for the next best thing. I say, why lie when the truth is even worse? Women will leave a relationship because of nothing, because they're bored. It's not because there's a guy who makes more money. Often, sometimes. So the women aren't taught, it's not an heirloom from their mom, the responsibility of being a woman. They're taught they can do whatever they want. They can always be happy, and God damn it, they should always be making it happen. And if your partner's not making you happy, then you should leave. That is very bad. I think it's irresponsible. I think it's immature. But we've all been irresponsible and immature in different ways. Okay, so I don't want to be too brutal about this.
I'm still fairly irresponsible and immature, so yeah, definitely.
You're say it again?
I'm still fairly irresponsible. Well, actually, I'm fairly responsible, but I'm fairly immature, that's for sure.
Well, are you?
I kind of, I'm pretty immature.
We have to come to terms about what that means. What is immature to you?
That's a good question. What is immature? I don't know. I just make light of everything. There's no such thing as a serious situation to me. I just kind of crack jokes about everything, and I don't know.
Well, that's
I'm the kind of guy that's making jokes about banging the widow at the funeral.
Well, then I would say you're not immature. You're jocular. You know, like that? It doesn't have
using
to
a lot of
be
big vocab words. I'm just a simple Russian man.
Oh, you're like joke, like joke, like jokey. You're fun, and that's
jovial. Okay, got it.
That's not immature. I mean, if that's the thinking about what it is to be mature, then we are really preventing a lot of men and women from becoming mature adults because they're thinking that it's all serious, and it's not. You can be
actually, I agree with your analysis. I mean, I was like half kidding when I said that, but yeah, I agree with your analysis.
Yeah, good, because I mean, look what you're doing with your life. That's not immature. You can't get that shit done if you're immature. You can get it done if you're funny, you know? So that's what I would say.
Anyway, let's get back to hypergamy. There we go. I'm pronouncing it
hypergamy.
Correctly. Yeah. So you're saying that women leave relationships because they're bored?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a million reasons. So I don't want women to say, like latch on. Like Jennifer Moleski thinks that the only reason, no. Some women get the shit kicked out of them. Some do find a better guy. But I think the majority don't have a great reason. They're just not happy. I'd love for the comment section to chime in on this, because I know a lot of men who have gotten the boot from their wife out of nowhere for nothing. They're just not happy anymore.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways.
Absolutely. I get comments all the time
because I was bored. Like I've personally done it myself. I think it goes both ways. Boredom can definitely cause you to and I'm not proud of it, but I have cheated before, and that had to do with me being bored. If I'm not bored, then I'm less likely to do it. And my way around that nowadays is I just don't get into like exclusive relationships anymore. So that prevents me from ever hurting anyone or cheating. But that's like a whole different thing.
You've created boundaries. You've let women know that you can't be. You have no interest in being committed to one woman right now. Take it or leave it. That's my boundary. Oh, you don't like it? Well, I'm not going to bend the rules for you. I'm not. And that's what the men in the comment section, I think, that's what you're trying to tell them. Like, set those boundaries. Respect yourself. I want to fuck everybody.
Self-respect are important. I think, and
Oh,
I
what's
do
that?
agree with you that the some YouTubers blow it out of proportion, hypergamy, and how common it is. Like they make the argument, they basically make it seem like any woman is going to always trade up. When I know that when some women are inclined to trade up, but it's not. I don't even think it's the majority. I think it's the minority of women, in my opinion. Like I know many women that as long as you meet their needs, that they will stay loyal. You know, they will not trade up just because you're not the richest guy or whatever.
I
And
agree.
again, rich guys get cheated on all the time, so even that logic doesn't make sense. Usually, when you know the rich guys get cheated on, it's not with like a richer guy; it's with a pool boy or something like that. So, I think I do disagree with a lot of the elements of the the hypergamy side. So I do agree with you on that. Um, Another thing I wanted to ask you about, my questions are gonna be all over the place, is what do you think about body shaming?
I'm fine with it.
Me too. Yeah. I think it's a good encouragement for people to become healthier. That's the way I see it. As long as it's not like
Well,
malicious.
and on the flip side of that, what happens when we don't shame and we encourage? Well, then what, like all the Victoria's Secret models were fired so they could have activists and whatnot come in. I don't think it's good. Now, to shame someone about, I should clarify, to shame someone on things that they can't control, how big their nose is. I say that because people talk about my nose. What color
People
their
talk about
hair
my nose
is,
all
how
the time
tall
too.
they are, um, what color they are. That's the obvious one anymore. But if you can't change it, I think it's kind of off the table. It's kind of low, scummy. But
Yeah,
if
I agree with that. Yeah,
but when you're shaming someone because they could be better, they could not put themselves in shitty situations and have bad things happen to their body, that they, I'm talking about the rape thing. Um, they could make better decisions on what they consume. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Imagine if there was free healthcare and everyone was taxed. Think of how pissed off people shame now. Think of how pissed off people would be if they saw somebody smoking a cigarette or being super obese because all their money is covering these people's shitty decisions. That's one more reason we shouldn't have free healthcare. I know we're not
or
going to
on
talk
the
about
flip
that,
side, there could
but
be free
yeah.
healthcare, but you have to be under 10% body fat as a man to get into it, and under 20% as a woman.
Yeah, but I see. I still don't like that because it's all arbitrary. It's like, well, that sounds good, 10%. But it's like, how about we just not let the government control anything? And I bet we'll all be happier. But anyway, body shaming is fine. I
Agreed.
don't care at
And
all.
last question. What do you think about? I'm curious. What are your thoughts about the red pill movement?
The red pill?
Yeah, the red pill
Is that what you
movement,
asked?
the red pill community.
Well, watch your mouth because I did a video about MGTOW a long time ago now, year and a half, 2 years ago, and I called it a movement, and I got 3,000 comments telling me to shove it up my ass. It's not a movement; it's a philosophy. I think it's a movement as well. And what do I think about it? I think it's fine. I think I'm very mixed emotions about it. But before I keep blabbing on, define for me what you're talking about when you say red pill.
Well, so that's where people get pissed off because it's hard to define because part of the red pill community you have people on who believe completely different things. It's like okay, it's like what does it mean to be a conservative? Well, like technically, I guess some people consider Donald Trump a conservative, who's totally different than like Ron Paul, right? But they're part of the same
Uh,
party, sort of like you know what I mean. So it's like that with the red pill movement
yeah.
too. It's like there's really no set definition, but the way I kind of think of it is guys who think that women. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. That women have a certain set of characteristics, which are, some of a good amount of them are negative, and that they will fuck you over if you let them. And you need to kind of keep your guard up. And women are this, women are that. Like women are not to be trusted. Women, are this and that. and they will fuck you over if you let them. And so you need to kind of like develop strategies to keep your guard up. For example, if you do want to be, date and be in a relationship, then you need all these strategies to like game your girlfriend and shit like that and keep her from taking advantage of you. And I think the big problem they run into is a lot of those guys don't actually really have a lot of experience with women. So they met some shitty girls who fucked them over, and they just assume all girls are like that. That's like you meet like one Mexican and he steals from you and just assume all Mexicans are thieves. That's that type of logic. But yeah, that's kind of like the way I would explain it.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Based on that answer, which I absolutely respect, I would say that I absolutely hate some of the red pill movement. And I think that it is so very valuable in other realms of it. I mean, do you understand how I'm answering? It's like there's the negative stuff, the stuff that's like, don't date, don't communicate with women. Like, to me, that's weird. It's almost teaching any person who thinks that you shouldn't talk to women at all, or help them, or speak to them, or look at them, that's like a psychosis, And if you're teaching that, you're trying to teach a psychosis.
Maybe I misinterpreted it. Like, I don't think they would say don't communicate with women. But like, for example, one of the things. Okay, I do think
on my channel, I've read thousands of comments. Now, granted, it's from a small sect. It's MGTOW versus feminism. I did a video, and man, the first 3,000 comments were not normal thinking. It was a really weird group. So that's kind of who I'm referring to. But you're saying that you think that's
well,
a pretty big minority.
There's a lot of parallel between feminists and red pill people, and they both fall into victim thinking. Feminists are like, yeah, the reason we are we're having a hard time in life is because of men. Men say the red pill guys say the same thing about women. The reason I'm not able to succeed is because of women. There's a lot of really funny and humorous parallels there. Red pill guys will say women are the problem, blah, blah, blah. Things were so good back then. The feminists will say men are the problem. They won't say things were so good back then. They'll say things will be so good 20 years from now once we're done. So there's a lot of really weird parallels between those two movements. But I think the biggest one is victim thinking, and also lack of nuance. Like they just like, oh, like I had one experience that was bad with a guy, so all men are bad. Yeah. I had one bad experience with one woman, so all women are bad, which is just like such like retarded thinking. So yeah, it's pretty funny. And those are like two groups of people who just like literally would never ever be friends with each other, but they actually have a lot in common. Like I would say
they're the same. They should date. They'd make great red pill feminist babies.
They'd have the angriest fucking sex ever. We're like. Yeah.
So weird. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of red pill in the sense of it's a truth. It's a truth that was held back from a lot of people's attention. It wasn't told to them. I think it's really important. I think learning the laws are absolutely all in favor for women if your relationship comes to a demise. That's an important piece of information. Now you can protect yourself with a prenuptial. I did a video with the lead attorney about prenuptial agreements. Think what you want, but make sure what you're talking about, because there's a lot of men who say prenups don't work. They never work. Like, fuck you. Yeah, they do. Like you got to pay a lot of money to a good attorney, but he's going to make sure that it's going to work. So knowledge makes you more powerful, because there's more tactics that you can employ to save yourself. I really like that. That's what I think is lacking for women with feminism. It's all you can do anything. You're the prize. You're wonderful. You're perfect. You deserve better. You deserve more. Like, wake up, ladies. It's not true. It's not true. And someone needs to start telling women to stop it, to act responsible, and to know the truth so they can safeguard their life and their future with that knowledge. I think red pill is great in that way.
Yeah, I think a big problem is that like a lot of women are modern women. They have an over. They don't feel like they need to work on themselves. They feel like they're like their shit is I don't know like what their shit don't stink is the expression
Yeah.
because they got 1,000 guys every day sliding in their DMs telling them how wonderful you are. Like any hot girl, you go through her DMs, and I've done this. Oh my god, you're so perfect. Oh my god, you're awesome. Like you don't know if she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's just hot. She has big tits, but that's all you know about her. Oh my god, you're so
Yeah.
perfect. Can I take you on a date? Oh, can I buy you this? Can I buy you that? And it's hard not to let that go unless you're very self-aware. Like that's gonna go to your head. And I think that's the problem is like a lot of chicks, it does go to their head. And so when they're going about in their day-to-day life, they have all that in their background. Like 1,000 guys today told me I'm wonderful. So I am wonderful. So maybe I am perfect. Maybe I don't need to work on myself. So yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. How much would
You
the
know
world
what?
be
My
better
brain
if
just
we ever
had a
against
neural connector right there. Oh, sorry. When you said that, yeah, women get tons of DMs from men, so they think they've earned it. They think there's something special. It's the same as a guy who uses porn all the time, who's convinced himself that because he fucked all these rad, beautiful women, that he earned it. It's a lie. It's malware.
Yeah, all right, let's take some questions. So we got Ash
Okay.
Marie. All right, a woman, part of my 20% demographic. If used to stay home with our children, but my husband changed his focus and wants to buy more stuff. We don't need more stuff, just a simple like taking care of my home and children. I would tell your husband that that you don't need more stuff. Maybe he thinks he's doing it for you. Maybe he thinks that maybe he's watched some red pill channels and he thinks that if he doesn't buy you more shit, you're gonna hypergamy your way to a rich guy or something like that. So I would probably communicate that. There's like it seems like some people in the comment section like know each other. It's such an interesting discussion
Or
that's
what?
going on. It's like seems like some people like on first name basis in the comment section. Can we
Oh,
just agree that women should be allowed to do what they want? You guys make it seem like they need to be wives above all, and unfortunately, isn't the reality. But yeah, I agree. I'm a huge proponent of people being able to do what they want, men or women. I think everyone.
mhm.
I'm sure you probably agree with that too. Women should be free to do what they want.
Hans, wait, Hans, of course I would agree. Women can do whatever they want. What I'm trying to say is there's not many women saying that this is also possible if you want it. I feel like women are bullied into wanting to fight in the corporate rat race or and.
Yes.
I do believe in freedom. That's why I like to introduce different ways of thinking or different opportunities. Great
No, I agree
question.
with that. I do feel like a lot of women are bullied into feeling that they're like letting their sex down if they do want to be stay-at-home moms.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. I do feel like it's almost gone to the other end where like initially like 50, 60 years ago, women were pressured into being stay-at-home moms, and now it's gone the other way. They're pressured into not being stay-at-home moms. They're pressured into being a career woman, and like that's fine if that's what you
Yeah.
want to do. If you don't want to do that, you shouldn't be pressured into it. So I think the pendulum has swung too far in the other direction now. All right, let's see what else we got. I like this. The only person that's worse than a female feminist is a male feminist.
Oh, dude.
That's so true. And chicks do not find male feminists attractive at all. Like how little respect do you have for a male feminist?
Do you know who you're talking to? I have very little intellectual respect for any feminist, but yeah, it's gross. It's like, what are you doing? You're
Well, but they're doing it to get laid because they think
maybe they just want what's that?
they're doing it to get laid because they think it will get them laid. It's like
I
just at
know.
the end of the day, it's an ineffective dating strategy. All right, let's see. A male feminist is 10 times worse than a female feminist. They kill their
It's
own
true.
long term. Women dig their own hole more than men do. They kill their own long-term partner sexuality by getting caught up in their own ideas of life that kill sexual tension. That's not really so much of a question as a statement. Let's see if I agree. Women dig their own hole more than men do. They kill their own long-term partner sexuality by getting caught up. I don't. What do you make of this? I don't really know what to make of this.
I don't know either. Women dig their own hole more than men do. Okay, where's the stats? What are you talking about? They kill their own long-term partner's sexually by getting caught in their own ideas of life that kill the sexual tension. Like maybe they're trying so hard to conquer in their career that they don't think about the importance of maintaining a healthy sex life. I don't know, dude. I'm just guessing.
I don't know either. Let's
Sound is
move on.
nylon.
I like this one. Alex,
Okay.
stop trying too hard to attack the red pill and disagreeing. Please, women today are not dateable for long term. No, I will never stop. Fuck you, red pill. No, I'm just kidding. I have mixed feelings about the red pill, but I will attack dumb ideas. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of dumb ideas in the red pill community. Like this statement: women today are not dateable for long term. There's a lot of women who are dateable today for long term. Like let's analyze the statement. So women 50 years ago, all of them were dateable long term, but now none of them are. Not a single one. There's 3 billion women on the planet. Not a single one of these.
Ken, should I go tell my husband the bad news right now that
we should, yeah.
It's not possible for the long term?
Like I do agree that on average, women have got, and men too, people in general, women have become less dateable long term. That being said, there's still plenty of women out there who are even first world countries who are long term girlfriend wife material. So again, this is just lack of nuanced thinking that I see in the red pill, which I will go after all the time because I don't give a shit. I don't play for any team.
But I will say, Alex and Ken, there is a benefit to living right now. The filtration system has never been stronger.
Oh, so many benefits to living right now. I make like a lot of the red pill guys, they reminisce as if like 50 years ago were the good old days and now everything is fucked. But like 50 years ago, you could only meet girls through your school, your work. Maybe you slept with a few girls a year. Now you can literally order 3 new girls on Tinder every day, like pizza. Like,
oh yeah, but Alex, okay, that is a whole philosophical podcast, YouTube video. Is that great? Being able to bang a bunch of bitches all the time, is that really great? Feels great, your dick loves it, but for society and even for women's health and for your health, I would argue and look at data of what the repercussions of that. So I'm going to push back a little bit in the sense of we have so many great things right now, but I think back then when there was less choices, there was more reason to also stay committed because there wasn't a whole lot of choices. I mean, there's pluses and minuses. Yeah.
Let's dissect every one of these things separately. So let's take the health stuff. So that one can be mitigated, you completely prevented by just having safe sex. So just use protection and screen your partners carefully.
Okay, wait. So but let's not stop at physical health. I mean, there's emotional health too. If we care about all genders, the two genders, then we have to think about the mental health of promiscuity for women. It's not the same as men. And I would venture to say there's a lot of men who like to have a lot of sex, but it does actually weigh emotionally on them. It's really not that great of a gig. So you'll say that we can combat the physical health. I'm saying I'd like to remind that there's also an emotional and spiritual health. Okay, what's the next point?
Well, I will say, so I would say that it really depends on the person. So I do agree that for some people, promiscuity is not good. Like that they don't, even some guys, I have one of my really good friends. He's never, he can get girls, like really, he has game, but he's always been a relationship kind of guy. That's what he prefers. So he doesn't like to just sleep with a lot of girls. And again, he's one of my best friends. So we have a lot in common, but that's one thing we don't have in common. Like me personally, I like sleeping with a lot of girls. It makes me happy. And at least I'll rephrase that. I did for a good portion of my life. I've kind of slowed down now. Like now I'm more, with one girl. But it just my life has changed. Like I've experienced that. Like I don't know, in my 20s, I just like want to go out and just like I don't know, sleep with a lot of girls, and I've done that. And like, what's the difference between 200 and 400? Like it's really there is no difference. So it got to a certain point where it got a little old for me. So I started focusing more on other things like business and whatever, relationships.
Got it.
But so I've always been a proponent of like there's no right or wrong. It just comes down to what you like. And some people, and I do think that on average, promiscuity can be. I have mixed feelings about this because on one hand, I like it when women are very promiscuous because, well, for obvious reasons. On the other hand, I do see how it can take a mental toll on certain women If that's not what they really want to do, it just comes down to who you are, what you think of sex and dating, what your goals are, what point of your life you're at. I don't think one is better or worse. But what I will push back against, though, I think that some people, I see this in the red pill community and amongst women sometimes, is they put a value on having a low body count. So like, oh, this
Oh
girl is
yeah.
so great because she's only been with one guy, or oh, I like this guy because he hasn't been with many chicks. I don't think there's any value. Like, I don't think having a low body count makes you a better human being at all, at all. So like for me, I don't care if my future wife has been with one guy or 10 guys or 30 guys. That's not going to play zero role. Like, I don't think it makes her better or worse of a human being. The only exception is if it's outrageously high. If she's been with like 300 guys, then I do have to ask the question, like, does she have some like issues going on, right? Because if it's like an outrageously high number, but aside from that, like, I don't think there's any value on that. That's kind of my little spiel.
So do you? And I have two spiels. Do you think you'll ever get married?
I think anything is possible. It's not my goal at the moment, but I think
Yeah.
anything is possible. But I would say it's rather unlikely.
Okay, then I was going to ask you, do you think that the body count or the number count would matter for a woman that you're going to choose to take your name? But because that's just a pondering. But the other thing I was going to say is, so we were talking about the health, promiscuity is fine, it's healthy. And then I came back with the emotional toll. The other thing you said is that you used to, in your 20s, you like to have a lot of sex with a lot of women because it was fun, and your hormones, and you had that energy, right? It slowed down. Why? Because you got older and other things caught your interest, like business. I wonder, Alex, if we had lived in a time that it was possible or the norm to settle down with one woman when you're 22, so you have your constant sex with the one woman, but you'd still have all that energy. If you would have pumped it into business, and you'd be like making $1 million more a year right now, just because you had a wife at 22 and you weren't promiscuous. I don't know. It just came to me as a question, because that sexual energy is powerful.
Yeah, I see your point. So there's a few factors in here. One, this is something a lot of men experience, is boredom. So sexual boredom. So when we keep having sex with one woman continuously, we start losing interest in having sex with her, no matter how great she is in bed. This is something me and all my close friends have talked about. It's something I've experienced in pretty much every relationship I've ever been in. Like, when the first 3 months, I'm really into the sex, then my interest in the sex goes downhill. And by like the last 3 months, I would rather have sex with a girl who's less attractive than her who is new. So I do like the fact that I was able to sleep with like hundreds of girls and like kind of experience like every type of thing. So if I do decide to settle down at some point, there's not going to be, when I see like, an Asian with pointy nipples, I'm not going to be like, oh, I've never tried that. Like, I've tried it all. Like, I know what it's all like. So that's kind of like that.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I actually feel that my desire to help me get good with women is what prompted me. I think if it wasn't for my desire, like, I didn't get laid until I was 19. I wasn't good with women until my mid 20s. I think if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have a lot of other things I did, because that forced me to develop a lot of traits that helped me become successful in business. And if it wasn't for that instant reward that I needed initially of getting laid, I don't think I would have developed those traits. The trait of patience, of persistence, like all the traits that were applicable to my business. So I don't know if I would have even had a business if it wasn't for if I had just easy access to sex. Like, maybe I would have been a fat slob. Like, I wasn't I was never fat, but like maybe I was a little slobbish. Like, I would just sit around and watch TV a lot when I was younger. Like, maybe I would have been still doing that. Like, who knows? So I think that my desire to get good with women forced me to develop a lot of qualities. Like, let's take the gym, for example. I never used to like working out growing up. I thought it was kind of lame, actually. And then I realized that women like guys who are jacked. So I was like, okay, I guess, if I want to get more girls, I should start going to the gym. And I started doing it. And I actually fell in love with working out. And now I work out primarily for my own sake, because I actually really enjoy it. But I don't think I would have ever even gone down that road if it wasn't for my desire to get more pussy. So, but anyway, we're kind of beating this horse to death.
No, those were good points. I'm happy to even out the the argument. That's good.
Let's see what else we got. Okay, Rollo's worship of hypergamy is its own toxic counterproductive. Are you familiar with Rollo Tomasi?
Yes, of course I've heard of him, but I've never watched his stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. Although some things he says he gets right, but I think it's highly overrated. I think men need to demand more from women that they date. Men for too long
Yes.
have accepted without. Yeah, agreed.
Yes, 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 yes. It's the same with shaming. I mean, you don't have to shame a woman, but don't be with a woman who's lower than what you're worth. Because now she's like, oh, but that guy, he was really into me. And now we're just feeding the, I hate to use the word entitlement because it's like racist. It's just watered down. It means nothing anymore. But they think that their worth is higher. It's damaging to all parts of society. Yes, men, please know your worth. If you feel like you're not worth a lot, that's fine. You might not be excellent right now. Then just make it happen, Captain, and start owning your life.
I have a pretty funny
Men
story
are
on
so
this.
awesome. A well-developed man is just awesome.
I have a pretty funny story on this topic, actually. I was at Whole Foods. This was like 5 years ago, but this sticks out. This was back when I was living in California. And I see this this couple at Whole Foods. And one of them is this guy, and no homo, but this guy's really good looking. He's like a male model. And this chick who is pretty chunky, right? Very unattractive. And they're together. And the guy says to her, hey, honey, do you want to get the salad? Like, literally, that's what he said. And she just went off on him. She's like, oh, what are you trying to imply? That I should get the salad because I'm fat? What are you trying to body shame me? And I was like listening to this. I was this close to coming up to the guy. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You can do way better than this. Like, why are you like with this fat slob who's like giving you shit when you could be with like an attractive girl? Like, I didn't say anything, but whatever. Like, probably should have. But I was listening to that. I was like, well, holy shit, this guy literally has like no standards. Or like that story that you have about the wife who won't pick up the car parts because the husband wants to like fix the car or something like that. You remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too.
Yeah, she wouldn't, even though she was right there.
Yeah.
There was a woman who lived an hour away. She was running errands. Her husband texted, hey, you're going to be right by this auto parts store. I need this part to fix your car. Will you pick it up? She said no. That's what Alex is talking about right now.
Yeah.
There was a commenter on one of my videos, and he said that his wife's sister got fat. And I think she got a divorce. Maybe I'm adding that for juiciness. But he said, the wife said to him, you wouldn't leave me for that, would you? And he said, actually, I need you to know right now, if you get fat, we're getting a divorce. And she was enraged for a while, and she has been thin forever. You know, like if my husband, I tell my husband all the time, if I start to get big, or if there's anything about me that you want me to work on, tell me. I'm on it. You know, so
I think that's a good mindset to have. Me and my girl have like the same thing. She's like 100 pounds. She's like tiny, and she's like, "Am I getting fat?" I'm like, "You're like the opposite of fat." But trust me, if you get fat, I will tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one says you won't find cheating in Taliban or Yemen. That's true, but I don't know how badly you want to sleep with women who are in Taliban. I can't imagine them being too attractive. I can't imagine like no one ever goes on Pornhub and types in Taliban girl gets fucked hard or something like that. Like that's just
I don't know, Alex. I don't
Maybe
know.
That's true. I'm letting my porn preferences speak to everyone else. All right, let's see what else we got. It's a lot of like statements. I want to get to like a good question. I get a really good question. Yeah, it's like people are talking about like God now and our naturals are a little.
Wait,
okay.
what are they talking about?
Oh no, people are having like their own little discussion in here. Are naturals overall better with women compared to those who learn game later on in life? It's an interesting question. I don't know if I have an answer. Do you have any thoughts on this? A natural implies a guy who is always good with girls, like a guy who didn't never have to learn. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, yeah. Okay, so here's my quick thought, as quick as possible. Pickup artists, all they do is learn the sentence structure and movements of a charmer. They're just learning how to be charming and engaging. And in the beginning, at any time you act in a play, the first time is going to be much more difficult than the 200th time. I would tend to say no. I don't think there's much of a difference. If you learned how to be comfortable and you acted it so many times, you're not comfortable. And I think you're right there in that league as a natural. That's my opinion.
I would say one thing on that. I think that's a big misconception, the common misconception people have about pickup artists, which I do think a lot of pickup artists give other pickup artists a bad name. And I definitely don't even consider myself a pickup artist. But that being said, I think I look at it more like seduction game community. I think the goal isn't to like imitate a bunch of high value behavior, but actually become a high value guy and actually become more confident rather than pretend to be confident. So I would say that like real guys who are actually successful women and like actually successful pickup artists are not the ones who put on like a shtick in a show and like try to mimic successful behaviors, but actually can become that successful guy who has those behaviors. So that's like my little caveat there. But yeah, I don't know. Are naturals a world better with women compared to those who learn gaming later on in life? I don't know. Naturals usually have a hard time explaining how they do what they do because they never had to really analyze it. I don't know. I mean, I would definitely not consider myself a natural at all. So hard to say. Let's take let's end off on this question. What's your take on non-monogamous relationship, Miss Jennifer?
Me? Everyone to themselves. I could not do it. I couldn't do it. I know myself. And what was it, Layla or something? The woman who lets her boyfriend or husband bang other chicks that you were telling us about, Alex. Yeah, I'm not her. I couldn't do it. Say it's because I have low self-esteem or I'm selfish or I'm jealous. I don't care. I couldn't do it. I don't want to do it.
Different strokes for different folks. I mean, I could not. Yeah. I understand both perspectives. All right. I think we answered some interesting questions. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on. So if people want to learn more about your work, where should they go?
Oh, it's my work. It's not my work. It's me thinking out loud and sometimes poorly. But my YouTube channel is just my name, Jennifer Moleski. Moleski is like the rodent and then the sport, Moleski. And I'll be speaking at the 22 convention this year, like I did last year. Alex will be at the 21. They're really fun. Honestly, I'd never been to a convention before, but it was a blast. And the sense of community is really special. So I don't know, maybe we'll meet some of your viewers there. That would be cool. Yeah. But I'm excited to meet you in real life.
Yeah, for sure. Likewise. I think it's gonna be a good time. October, so look out for it, guys. I'm gonna announce it officially on my channel probably in August or something like that. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. And check out Jennifer's channel. She has some good stuff there. We'll link everything in the description below. Do you do any other social? Are you on like Instagram or anything like that, or just YouTube? Yeah,
but it's pointless. You're not gonna have fun if you follow me on Instagram. Just save yourself the time.
I remember we were communicating over email. I was like, do you have any scandalous pictures or something like that? I said, and you're like, dude, do you know who I am? And then like I searched through your Instagram and then I understood. It's just like, it's just like the most random pics. You don't have like, So yeah, check out her YouTube. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We got another awesome video dropping tomorrow. Big thank you, Jennifer, for joining us. This is an interesting discussion.
Thank you.
A little bit different than what we usually do, but I think it was fun. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate it.
Thank you.